Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on this special GIS report. I am your host, Laura Lee Dawson, Information Officer reporting for the Ministry of Communications and Works. Government of the Virgin Islands continues to move the territory towards stability and growth. And in light of this, government is delivering on its mandate to improve the territory's infrastructure. Over the past several months, government, through the Ministry of Communications and Works, has been hard at work repairing, upgrading, improving, and modernizing the territory's utilities and road networks through a variety of projects. These various projects have come by way of several different systems put in place to enhance the territory's infrastructure. The government of the Virgin Islands has undertaken and implemented a national sewerage project. They have implemented massive road rehabilitation and drainage works, and they have also utilized Caribbean Development Bank funding to repair and improve various areas of the entire territory that have been affected by subtropical storm Otto in the year 2010. Today, we will take a closer look at some of these projects. The National Sewerage Project restarted several months ago with Roadtown. The Acting Permanent Secretary, Mr. Anthony McMaster from the Ministry of Communications and Works stated,
in regards to the National Sewerage Project, it's been the government's mandate for quite a number of years to upgrade and improve the sewage system territorial-wise. And as a result of the works that have been ongoing for numerous years, what we have done is we have taken a different approach to trying to bring the new sewage system on board. Since this administration came into office, what they've done since the mandate is that the sewer system should be up and running by the end of this term. We looked at it and we took a different approach, and what we're currently doing now is running the main sewer lines that would connect from Roadtown down to Board Point to the sewer treatment plants. By running these 8-inch main catchment lines, putting in the pump stations, and then activating the sewer treatment plants, then what we will then go back to do is that those houses that where the feeder lines exist, we will actually be able to connect those and commission the sewer system. Those that are still pending, where we have some feeder roads where we have not completed all those feeder lines, we will then go back after and connect those houses and put in those feeder lines. I guess the whole long and short of it is that we're trying to get a sewer system up and running, and we realized that there was actually no point in doing all the feeder lines if they had nowhere to go to. So by putting in the main sewer system, the main sewer line with the treatment plant, we can actually do the connections, start treating the sewage, and then doing the additional connections as we go forward. Because any new development that takes place after this is online, it'll be the same process where we can just do the connections into the sewer system, treat the effluent, and then have it treated and discharged properly.
Greenland also benefited from the National Sewerage Project works with a temporary sewerage treatment plant.
What the government did is realizing based on our timetables and our schedules that we were not going to be able to get the National Sewage Program up and running with the treatment plant. We looked at all of it, we consulted, we brought in private sector experts as well. BioSafe was one of those companies that worked with us to identify a solution. And they worked side by side with our own water and sewage department. And then we engage contractors from within the Greenland area so that the persons within the area would be a part of the project in the area. And we were able to complete that project within 2.5, 3 months. As a result of that, we've put in what we refer to as a temporary treatment sewage plant that is capable of processing up to 5,000 gallons of wastewater per day. And that has been working very well. Since we've commissioned it, we've not had any difficulties with the plant itself, and there have been no running wastewater on the roads. I'm able to say that we have over 60 families that are actually connected to that station at the moment. We think that it was a worthwhile project. It was definitely value for money because I think the environment is a lot cleaner, and I think the residents of the area are a lot more satisfied with the results.
East End.
As a part of the ministry's infrastructural development project, what we did was we took a holistic approach towards the project execution, and as a result of that, we had a total of 3 different projects that needed to be executed in the Eastern area: the National Sewage Project, the water infrastructure upgrade, and the road rehabilitation and drainage upgrades. So as we're standing here now by Chapel Hill, what we did is that we had the sewage project start at this point, and this runs all the way through to the Paramtown Junction. We also had the water infrastructure upgrade that took place as well. And what we did was we replaced the old water lines that were in combination of 4-inch and 6-inch lines that ran through from the bridge down to Eastern area as well. And what we did is we took out all of the old pipes and we replaced them with 8-inch water mains. And what that allows is for additional water to come up to the area, particularly with by water coming on stream, so that we will have a greater water in the system so that we can distribute water throughout the community at a better pace. And finally, what we did in regards to the infrastructural upgrade is that we looked at it and we said, okay, if we're going to be basically going into the ground to put in the sewer lines and the water lines, then we'll also take the opportunity to upgrade the drainage system, and then we'll resurface the whole road. And as we speak here today, you can see from what has taken place here, the water lines have been installed, the sewer line has been installed, that has been completed, and right now we have the public works team along with private contractors from the community that are now working on the drains and retaining walls. And then we hope that within the next 2 weeks thereabout, we will begin to remove the entire surface from the road, and that would be replaced with a new surface. So I think there are a lot of benefits to be achieved from these projects. First and foremost, with the installation of the sewer lines, it allows for persons within the community to now tap into the sewer infrastructure, where the sewage can be treated properly and then disposed of. As we deal with the road upgrades and the drainage upgrades, what that does is it prepares the territory for years to come. So we eliminate quite a bit of the flooding that takes place. We would have proper roads. We intend to get in some sidewalks as well, so it makes it pedestrian friendly and safer for persons to traverse even while the vehicles are traversing, so that persons can actually continue to exercise without worrying about whether or not a vehicle would likely sway off the road and collide with them. So we're proud to know that we've been able to get these projects to the point of execution. It took us some time from the planning stage to get to where we are now, but the ministry is very proud that we have been able to get to this stage, and we intend to continue executing these projects all the way through to completion.
Government of the Virgin Islands has partnered with Caribbean Development Bank in order to repair and improve different areas of the territory that were severely impacted by subtropical storm Otto in the year 2010. Palestina.
This entire area floods during heavy rains, and while we can't prevent flooding, what we can ensure is that it drains much quicker. Now, before these works commenced, there was only one main outlet, which is the gut, out to the sea. And in case that gut got blocked up with trees, debris, trash, etc., then there was nothing draining the area. It remained flooded for a while. What we've done is we've added in a few extra outlets to the sea that will give it more options for for draining. So while it will still flood in a heavy rain, it will drain faster and not remain flooded. In addition, we're going to be adding in some pedestrian walkways, which previously were not along this road. Especially with this wall here, people had to walk on the street with traffic passing. And with a school here, you don't want children walking in the street with a school. So we're going to be adding in sidewalks for pedestrians up to the point of the bridge, so along this stretch of road. The bridge is going to be raised by about 4 feet, I think, off the top of my head. That's to help prevent blockages underneath the bridge in the event of a heavy rain.
Ballast Bay.
During the 2010 storm, Otto, this particular area was heavily undermined, where the road started to be compromised. And it was because of the drainage on this side of the road. Once the water came from upstream, it just came over and washed away everything here. And so it continues to keep eroding. It was one of the sites. We had three of these sites similar to this. So one of the tactics was to stabilize the road by installing a retaining wall, and then put a curb wall to guide the water from going over there in the future. Okay, so this is the second site in the Ballast Bay project. As you can see here, this is a design that was used between the contractor and the engineer to actually filter some of the water and the debris that will come down from a little further upstream. The idea is the excess water that comes on the road will come into this what we call a sedimentation basin. The water will allow itself to settle, thereby removing a lot of the debris. There's geotextile material on the bottom to allow the finer materials from going through, and so that would help to prevent the system from being blocked. The water will be able to filter through and actually slow down such that it wouldn't create as much damage downstream. As you can see in front of the driveway here, there's an actual little swale that guides water into this system. So we expect that any additional water that may have gone on and create damage to the property just to the bottom, that this will not happen anymore. As we recall, this area was heavily damaged during the storm. So we have a curb system that actually, one, it retained much of the very needed undermining that happened at the top of the hill, and the curb now is will allow the water to drain to its side and to filter into our filtration system. So we think that this project again is a very good project. It's done to a very high quality, and it's something the ministry is very proud of. This area was the one that was damaged the most. The undermining that occurred at this site was pretty large until it went all the way to the sea. One of the things that we wanted to make sure happened here with this design was to, one, stabilize the road because the road was severely undermined, and then two, prevent water from actually going over the road on the seaward side. We used a retaining wall system that actually captured the area that was undermined. And then on the outside of the retaining wall, as you can see here, running along the scope of the project, is a curb wall to actually stop and prevent water from going over the side. So you can see the curb wall running all the way to the extent of the project. The other component of this project was to restore the guardrails. You can tell the difference with the color, but it's a seamless continuation of the guardrail that was here and that was broken. And we look forward to seeing models like this throughout the country as the ministry seek to stabilize the roads.
Government is also continuing its efforts to enhance the Teritorys tourism product by way of the Cruise Pier Expansion Project. Minister for Communications and Works, Honorable Mark Vanterpool, remarked,
"In a few months, we will see the completion of this first phase of this major infrastructural development project of the government of the Virgin Islands. You would know that work began on site a few months ago, and there are two contractors currently working. Ideal Meridian, which was awarded the contract of the marine works, started mobilization works at the end of June. These works include the extension and widening of the existing dock and some dredging. You may also be seeing some rock work and the creation of some new land at the back of the administration building. IDL Meridian is still mobilizing its equipment, but is expected to start piling on the pier. Ports and Marina Services are responsible for doing all of the foundation work for the piled buildings. I am pleased to report that work on the cruise pier expansion project is progressing smoothly. I am pleased with the progress to date, and I look forward to the completion of this first phase by the end of December of this year of the pier expansion and the Landside Welcome Center.
The projects that we just saw are only a fraction of what government has accomplished in Roadtown, Greenland, East End, Palestina, Ballast Bay, and at the cruise pier to make the Virgin Islands better for all. There are many more upcoming projects that are soon to begin, which will include works on the sister islands as well. Look out for these new initiatives on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Ministry of Communications and Works is dedicated to ensuring the continued development and maintenance of public infrastructure in keeping with international standards in support of an enhanced community life for every resident and visitor in the Virgin Islands. I am your host, Laura Lee Dawson, and thank you for tuning in.